So here's the tail of the tape. Walsh, the slightly younger man by just a year. He's the taller man. And the bigger record, 12 wins, 3 losses, more experienced. But Pilot, only that 1 loss in 7 bouts. This one on paper is going to be a real corker. And Buddy Johnson, our MC, is going to announce it for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we get ready for 3 5-minute rounds in the professional bantamweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a ground and pound specialist. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighing at 135.4 pounds. An impressive record of 12 wins, 3 losses, and 0 draws. 5 of those wins by TKO. Representing Lancaster MMA and Tiger Muay Thai from Lancaster, Lancashire, England, Shay Walsh. And his opponent standing across in the red corner, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist standing 5 feet 7 inches tall. And he weighed in at 137.2 pounds with a record of 6 wins, 0 losses, and 1 draw. 5 of those wins by submission. Representing Predators MMA from Manchester, England, Gaz Pilot. When the action begins, your referee in charge, Mark Woodard.
So Chris, when you've got all rear naked choke submissions as your wins, when all your finishes come in the first round, is he just going to go out there and try and take him down? Is that simple for the Spitfire Pilot?
And Walsh opening up with a nice right round kick. You can literally hear the fans behind us screaming, shouting, stamping. He's brought a real crowd behind him here tonight, Malcolm.
So, do you feel Gaz is just waiting his moment that he won't want to stand and trade surely with Shay?
Well, he's going to exchange a few shots and try to get the opportune moment in which to change levels and come in. There we go. See, he's waiting for that kick. Nice single leg takedown, coming in, pulling the leg. Look for him to trip that back leg out in just a moment here. As soon as he secures a little bit tighter of a hold.
Walsh was aware of that, but he could do nothing to stop it.
And transitioning very beautifully from the single to the double. Nice orientation from Gaz Spitfire Pilot. He realized he wasn't going to get that single and went right to the double.
Well, we can hardly hear ourselves thinking because Shay Walsh's supporters are almost willing him out of this, Chris.
And this arena is just filled with echoes of his last name being shouted. Shay Walsh doing a good job, though, getting right back up to his feet. But once again, on the other end of a head inside single attack.
And we had a feeling that Gaz Pilot would be this relentless, didn't we?
And that's exactly what I figured Gaz was going to do. You see him try to trip out that rear leg. Excellent leg dexterity displayed by Shay Walsh, but he goes for a ride in the end. Great scramble.
Now listen to the fans' response as well. They knew this came out in Walsh's favor.
Shay Walsh showing good patience and trying to use that overhook to try to flatten out his opponent. Gaz very wary of that and right back up to his feet to go right back to his bread and butter.
Now, and again, we talked about the different styles. What about the 2 different body shapes as well, Chris? That's so obvious here as well.
That's an interesting dimension, you know, in the rise, fall, rise of this MMA bout so far. Down to the mat, back on up. And it gives an interesting moment where both fighters are trying to establish themselves. But I feel like Pilot a little bit more effective in implementing his game plan so far.
Yes, as you said, great leg dexterity there from Walsh, trying to frustrate his man. But often, as we see, when you're frustrating, you're not scoring your own points, are you, when the judges are looking for certain things here, Chris?
Absolutely, but, you know, Shay Walsh, he's got extensive experience, and, you know, he's training in one of the toughest environments in the world in Thailand, you know. The atmosphere there, the moisture, the heat really makes training very difficult. And he's going to come here and push it to the max.
Well, you saw the chopping kick to the thigh, then the knees from Shay Walsh. And let's look at another thing. Gaz Pilot is not used to coming out of the first round. What if after 5 hard minutes, he's got to go into the second round with a very dangerous man.
You know, we're over halfway point so far, and he was fishing for that takedown, but he's been unable and unsuccessful in keeping Shay Walsh to that mat. He's throwing heavy punches, but those are arm punches, and I feel like he's breathing a little bit heavy there. Might be starting to tax him a little bit, Malcolm.
And Walsh has used that height, especially in the clinch, which, as you expect to go into Thailand, that he would start to become far more adept at. And as you said, he might be just wearing Gaz Pilot down, knowing that he doesn't often go into, well, he's only gone once into the second round.
Yeah, there's a silver line to this, in that as you said, he'll be able to wear him out in the clinch. Nice arm drag, though, from Gaz Pilot. You notice the way he obviously swaps up from that underhook attack, crossing the other arm over and then pulling in the elbow. Now he's real tight here and gains a lot better leverage in doing so.
Yes, it's been a real turnaround. And again, you can hear every time he turns his man, Shay Walsh's traveling fans go absolutely ballistic here, really raising the roof at the Barclaycard Arena.
Outstanding. Yeah, and Shay Walsh really showing off that world-class clinch work.
And a big knee to the head of Gaz Pilot, a big knee to his head.
Excellent knee for Shay Walsh. And really more importantly, as I said, defensive clinch work as well as offensive. This
Well,
is
we're
a
into the final minute, Chris.
Yeah,
And you were impressed by Pilot at the beginning. Has the tide turned in favor of Walsh?
it's difficult to say if, you know, the judges are going to look at what Walsh is doing to stuff these takedowns and use the clinch work to land a couple of knees. Look at the way that Gaz drops. Wow, he went for a sacrifice there, but ended up on the wrong side of it again. Shay Walsh using that overhook, just like we saw earlier in round one. That's been a key feature of his defense so far.
And it has been a very solid defense, hasn't it? But he's in trouble now, isn't he?
A little bit, yeah. Got to see what's going to happen here in the way that that arm control is going to play out. Okay, now he's out. But Gaz using that arm drag very nicely to come back in. It looks like he rolls around, gets back up on top. I'm impressed with the scrambling game of both these guys. And two very different takes on it. One from Muay Thai, one from wrestling and grappling.
That's right. Gaz Pilot, as we go into the last seconds, has stuck to a very strict game plan. But has it taken him the round, Chris?
I'm looking at the way that he's been able to end up pressing Walsh against the cage. That's where he was able to land a lot of the takedowns initially. Walsh was at his best in the middle of the ring when he was able to sprawl and defend those takedowns. Very difficult to call, but let's take a look at a couple of Gaz's bits of offense here. And you notice the way he was looking at that other leg and chopping down the last remaining support structure, but Walsh did a good job of scrambling and ending up using the overhook to stay on top. Looking at another attempt here, you can see again, as I was saying, the defensive clinch work and more importantly, sprawl work of Walsh. And it certainly negated much of Gaz's offense. And more importantly, Malcolm, kept him off his back.
And there's the big knees that immediately come in. Gaz took them well, but it shows how dangerous that Walsh is there with those knees. It's a man that's knowing how to use the advantage his limbs are giving him. That's what's impressed me in this bout.
I totally agree, and it gives him a very credible platform to continue into round two. Well, let's see what happens next.
So round two, and as Chris said, this one is perfectly poised. It's when a contrast of styles works in the bout's favor, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and it brings out the very best in each other. These guys have gone through a ton of positions. There's that round kick game coming in, though, from the Thai artist in Shay Walsh. Nice. Looking good with that front kick.
Yes, he's sinking in those kicks, trying to keep Gaz away.
I feel like Gaz didn't like that whatsoever, Malcolm.
Well, the thing is here, Chris, you and I have seen on many occasions when a clash of styles can also make an ugly bout, but this is so working in our favor.
Yeah, like sometimes you'll have two grapplers that they come in and they totally cancel each other out, and they've got really sloppy striking. Makes for a pretty boring affair. That is not the case in this one.
Oh, big shots here from Shay Walsh, opened up. Gaz Pilot took them well, but do you know what he felt most? That teep to the midsection at the end of that combination.
And a deep breath, the evidence of that effect on Gaz Pilot. Wow. Very nice.
It's beginning to open up, Chris.
I was going to say Walsh getting a lot more loose, and the fans just relentless. I feel like I'm in a football match right now in the stadium.
Yes, Gaz Pilot, tough as they come, because some of those combination shots landed cleanly, and yet the one that really made him take the deep breath, and again the teep kick, that Thai teep kick coming in through the channel. It's
Considered disrespectful in traditional Muay Thai, but Walsh making it a lot more fluid here in that bread and butter Thai attack. Punches and bunches for Shay Walsh, but now it's Gaz in the head of the inside single.
Well, he stuck his tongue out at Shay Walsh that tells me he was hurt. And then immediately, as you said, went to tire. I think he's thought enough is enough here at the moment.
He's got to look to stuff the head of Shay Walsh. Or excuse me, he's got to look to stuff the head of Gaz Pilot and try to get his leg free. He's doing a good job of pinning it up against the thighs of Gaz Pilot to keep his momentum from getting beneath his hips. But Pilot being relentless with that takedown is still very worrisome, Malcolm.
Yeah, still 3 minutes left. Chopping elbows, trying to get to the side of Gaz Pilot's head. And he's done a great job of letting Gaz get to where he wants to be.
And nice, as you said, elbows connecting very neatly to Gaz. We've seen guys finish from that now.
Oh, the gum shield's out from that short elbow, and a turn by Walsh.
And we get a break here in a neutral position in that 50-50 clinch.
And I've got to be honest, as the second round has progressed to virtually the halfway point, Shay Walsh has not put a foot wrong in this round.
No, he's definitely implemented the striking game plan with a bit more brilliance, and more particular, able to negate any takedowns from Gaz Pilot. It was in dangerous territory about 30 seconds ago, but now he's free. He needs to back away from him here. Get back to the center.
And there's a cut on the head of Gaz Pilot from those elbows. I don't think he's in a dangerous position. I think he's on the back of his head.
And more deep breaths from Gaz Pilot. I think he's tired, Malcolm.
Well, he's a first-round finisher, Chris. We said this. He's a first-round finisher.
And nice knee pressure from Walsh. Looking to catch a pass here is Shay Walsh, the Lancaster phenom. Possibly maybe for a leg drag, I'm not sure. But he's kicking on those legs. That's good technique too, Malcolm.
Yes, and his fans are going crazy. As you said, it's like a football stadium in here at the moment.
And working the pass is Shay Walsh. Winds up at half guard of Gaz Pilot. Interesting position.
And Chris, you mentioned earlier that Gaz Pilot had trouble with the weight. Could that be a factor as well?
It's difficult to say. I mean, he's obviously taken some mean shots to the body, including the one that we thought was most draining in that teep kick. But it is often a factor when you dehydrate yourself and try to make weight. You know, often it's referred to as the battle before the battle.
Now, knowing how his finishes come, though, Shay Walsh has still got to be ultra careful in this position, hasn't he?
Without a doubt. I mean, Gaz Pilot, with the majority of those wins by submission, you know, 90% of his finishes over by submission. You've got to respect that at all times. And Walsh is being pretty meticulous at this point. I like it.
Yes, he's got to stay focused. He's inside the last minute. It's been almost a textbook round from him, but you cannot afford to lose that focus and give Gaz, for want of a better term, something to play with when he's such a submission specialist. But there's another cracking elbow from Shay Walsh. Shay
Walsh making all the right decisions here and working this pass. Then in short elbows, controlling with the overhook when needed, and trying to pry out of the grapevine of Gaz Pilot. You'll notice the way that Gaz is trying to lock up that half guard. But Walsh is having none of it, Malcolm.
Oh, and he has to eat another elbow and another chopping downward elbow. And Walsh's fans are going crazy here. They know this is a big, big second round for their man.
And I like the way he's forcing his leg out with the instep of his right leg, using good shoulder pressure, trying to work that far side head and arm choke. You know, if he gets a pass, he'll go for head and arm choke in the form of an arm triangle.
So as we come to the end of the round, let's put things in perspective, Chris. He's found it hard to make weight. He's never been into the second round except once, and Walsh has been totally on top of him.
And really, Shay Walsh putting all the strings together and making Pilot feel his weight. Nice strikes. And that right teep from hell coming straight up the pipe and landing flush.
And nice little slipping movements with his head as well. And then on the floor, where you think that Gaz Pilot might be given an option, he hasn't given him that either, has he?
Well, you know, when Gaz Pilot was looking for stuff here, you know, looking to control arms, looking to lock down and play half guard, it was very evident to me that Walsh was able to be wise and make the right adjustments.
So Shay Walsh, a big, big dominant second round here. And we felt that Gaz Pilot might be gassing for various reasons in the second. Now he's got to face a very fresh-looking man in the third.
Round 3 of 3. It's Gaz Pilot versus Shay Walsh with a touch of gloves. Gaz Pilot has got to go after him. I feel he's got to cut the distance. He's got to push Walsh away. He cannot allow Walsh to get off first.
The other problem for him, Chris, is he's never been able to get a really clean takedown either, has he? Walsh has made him have to work for everything. And there's the roundouts to the head as well. And Pilot felt that, Chris.
Walsh staying very busy and setting up that head kick nice. You know, he's got a real solid kickboxing pedigree and, you know, kind of that Dutch Muay Thai style where he uses punches to set up the kicks following. I like it. He's got good fight IQ, Malcolm.
And no attempt to block the low kick from Gaz Pilot. He's really feeling the pace. And here's the problem for him. Even though he's gone for the takedowns, he knows what he wants. Walsh has never made it easy for him.
Never. And I mean, you know, the way he connected with that kick there, he chambered it quickly, he extended it, landed flush, and brought it back even quicker. That's Muay Thai 101.
And I feel the more time that Gaz Pilot is stuck here trying to get this takedown, the more the fight is just drifting away from him.
And Shay Walsh using excellent weight distribution. The way he had that shin across Gaz Pilot's thigh. You'll notice him using that there again to try to bump out and create some space. And more importantly, not allow Pilot underneath him to get a takedown.
Yes, it's been a tough fight for Gaz Pilot. If you're looking for positives to take away, some of the punishment he's taken, he's not flinched, does he? He's got a huge chin.
Absolutely. I mean, Pilot is going for it. But more importantly, I feel like it's Walsh's defense that's been the difference thus far. And probably his variation in offense. Whereas Gaz has been a little bit one-dimensional.
Yes, you're right. And that one dimension has been in the taking the single leg, going for it relentlessly. And he's been punished by a man who knows how to defend it well.
And Gaz doing everything he can to try to get this fight down to the mat. But, you know, we're 30 seconds away from being halfway through this round again, Malcolm. And it's a real big question as to, do you score the offense or the attempted grappling of Gaz Pilot, or do you score the defense that's been successful and more effective in Walsh?
And it's also aggressive defense with those elbows as well.
And one of those things that you'll notice real quick is that it blurs Gaz's vision. It gives him that much more to worry about.
But I'll show you how tough he is, Chris. You hardly noticed there a shooting right hand that landed flush on the side of the face of Gaz Pilot. And the reason we hardly noticed it is he made no fuss about it whatsoever, like it didn't land.
Yeah, and it's to take nothing away from Gaz Pilot. He's an extremely tough fighter. Got a lot of heart and determination, but I just feel it's the fact that Walsh has been that much sharper with techniques like that Muay Thai plum.
Gaz Pilot is really breathing heavily now from the relentless assault of Shay Walsh. And that was almost with disdain the way he threw him down there, Chris.
Outstanding variation and striking assault from Shay Walsh.
Oh, and here comes those chopping downward elbows again. Then the forearm on top. And you can see him posturing up just to drop the elbow on Pilot.
Big shots, striking home to the chants of his fans in this arena. And you'll notice the way that Walsh is able to pin down Gaz's face and then come in with a short elbow. That's just economy in motion, Malcolm.
Yes, he's not wasted any energy, but he really has been consistent. Oh, and there they come again. And Pilot, this is it for Pilot now. I feel Gaz Pilot has had enough here. He's really breathing heavily, the facial expression. This is not a nice place to be whatsoever.
And magic energy from Shay Walsh as he pounds home, looking to end this fight. And the referee has seen it off, Malcolm.
Gaz Pilot was giving the vibes. He'd done so well. We talked about gassing. We talked about going into the third. And what was the icing on the cake was Shay Walsh gave him no opportunity to rest at all.
And he was in a terrifying position with a Muay Thai guy on top. You're back against the cage. And let's take a look in a moment at Shay Walsh's handiwork. I mean, this guy's got so many interesting matchups in this division. Coming away with a great victory against a very tough fighter like Gaz Pilot.
And he's really dismantling him, isn't he, Chris?
Exactly, that's what I was talking about. He used all the tools on his belt and literally taking the fight to Gaz Pilot in spectacular fashion. Punches, followed by kicks, elbows when he was on the mat, as we'll see here in a moment. Just a dynamic display. Walsh.
And this is the finish, Chris. You can look at Gaz Pilot. He's taken so much. He's had a huge heart, but this is just one more time to the tank that's not there.
As I said, he was like a berserker. It was just way too much for Gaz Pilot. Overwhelmed him. And there you see the finish with those concluding shots. Points his finger to his fans, walks off. What a phenomenal fighter, this Lancaster prospect.
Yes, and you can see what it means to him there with his huge traveling army of fans. And it just remains now for our MC Buddy Johnson to make the official announcement here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout ended 3 minutes 44 seconds of the third round. Your winner by ground and pound